You ever walk out of a movie, your head is just buzzing with thoughts, but the only thing you can actually say is, yeah, it was good. Come on, we've all been there. Well, today, we're going to fix that. We are building your conversational playbook so you can go from just good to great when you talk about movies. Let's get into it.
So picture this. The credits are rolling, the lights in the theater come up, and your friend turns to you with that look, that so look. That's the moment. It's where a really great shared experience can either just fizzle out with a simple, I liked it, or it can spark a fantastic, really memorable conversation. And we are definitely aiming for that second one.
So how do we get the ball rolling? Well, it all kicks off with that very first question. To see how it's done, let's just listen in on a conversation between two friends, Leo and Sarah, who just watched a movie together.
And there it is. That's the perfect opener. See, Leo doesn't ask, did you like it? Because that can just get you a simple yes or no. Instead, he asks, what did you think? It seems like a small change, but it's a totally open-ended question, and it invites a real, honest-to-goodness opinion.
Okay, so Leo has opened the door. The next step is to actually walk through it by sharing what you really thought, and yeah, that's even if it's not some glowing 5-star review. Let's see what Sarah says back.
Now, pay attention to how Sarah does this. She doesn't just say, it sucked. She's direct. I was a bit disappointed. And then, and this is the crucial part, she gives specific reasons. She points right at the plot.
To be honest, Sarah starts with this great little phrase. To be honest, it's kind of like a polite signal that you're about to share your genuine feelings, especially if they might be a little critical. It just gives the other person a heads up and keeps the whole vibe respectful.
But what happens when you have completely different views? Because, well, Leo actually liked the movie. This is that moment where conversations can get super awkward. But you know what? It really doesn't have to be. Let's see how Leo handles this.
So here's the split. You've got Sarah over here thinking the plot was just a slow, confusing mess. But on the other side, Leo is zeroed in on how great the acting was. I mean, they're on completely different planets right now. How in the world do you bridge a gap like that without just shutting the whole conversation down?
Okay, this move by Leo is just brilliant. He doesn't say, you're wrong, no way. First, he validates her feeling. He acknowledges her point. Then, he pivots the conversation to something they might actually agree on, in this case, the soundtrack. It's the perfect way to keep things positive and start looking for some common ground.
I see your point. Seriously, these 4 words are like a superpower in any kind of disagreement. It just screams respect. It says, hey, I heard you and I get where you're coming from, which is the foundation for any friendly debate, whether you're talking about movies or, anything else. Now, to have these kinds of specific chats, you need the right words in your toolkit. Being able to name the different parts of a film is what lets you go way beyond just good or bad and explain exactly why you feel the way you do. So let's quickly break down that vocabulary. First up, you've got the plot. That's basically the what happened of the movie, right? The sequence of events. This is what Sarah had a problem with, and by actually naming it, she makes her criticism super clear.
Then, of course, there's the acting, the performances by the actors themselves. This is what Leo loved. For him, the acting was so strong that it made up for a story that wasn't perfect.
And what about the ending? Oh man, a bad ending can just sink an entire movie, right? And for Sarah, this one felt rushed. Being able to pinpoint that is so key to explaining your feelings.
And finally, we've got the soundtrack, the music. Now, this was Leo's secret weapon, remember? This is the clever tool he used to pivot the conversation and find that little island of common ground. And all of this leads to the most important part of all, actually finding that common ground. You got to remember, the goal isn't to win the argument about the movie. It's about connecting with the other person over a shared experience. And look at that, it worked. Sarah totally agrees with Leo about the music. By finding that one point of connection, the whole conversation ends on a high note. She even manages to give a positive recommendation, just, for a very specific audience. It's a perfect resolution. All right, so let's recap the entire playbook. It's really just 4 simple steps. 1, start with an open, general question. 2, state your opinion honestly and be specific. 3, acknowledge their point of view. And 4, find something you both like to connect over. That's it. That's your recipe for a great post-movie chat. So there you have it. You've got the tools, you've got the vocabulary. The only real question left is, what movie are you going to be discussing next?